Okay, here we go. Ethical and international are the two most important words in the Cad Factory vision statement. International refers to the fact that we bring out an international artist once a year to make work in the region, that we make work of an international standard, refusing to accept our regional location as a barrier to quality, and we make work locally as well as internationally. We started out in Marrickville in a warehouse space in 2005. We had no audience development strategy as such and would often forget to advertise shows until the day of them. But we often found that we had a full house, which was a sign of the strong local community that we were a part of. In 2005, we purchased an old schoolhouse on 2 acres near Narrandera in New South Wales for a cost of $15,000. Our intention wasn't to move there, but to give it to artists free of cost to go and make work. Over time, we became enamoured and decided to relocate. In the 5 years since, we have built a world-class recording studio with tar-kit dance floor and accommodation for multiple artists. Realising that our aim wasn't to be contemporary art missionaries attempting to save the local people with the almighty benefits of art, we instead started a slow process of making work that was relevant to local people while satisfying our own artistic aims. With Maya Kanamori, we invited past students to return to the site and tell their story. From this we made a projection installation which was open for 2 weeks. The schoolhouse had no town water. It was a private water scheme, but it cost $30,000 to join. They refused to let us join until after the opening night of this event, where a ute-load of local blokes turned up and said, "We're here to hook up your water. It's not going to cost you anything, we're going to do it in thanks for what you're doing for our community." I then invited artist Victoria Hunt to come and make this work roadside frequencies. We set up on 2 dam bank walls by the side of the Sturt Highway. She was dressed in a 10-metre long gown made from agricultural plastic, and I was on the other dam bank wall with the piano mic'd up so that it could transmit to hijack the radios of passing cars. We improvised there for over an hour. In an area consumed by industrialised agricultural practices that remove people from the landscape, this project was about placing memories back into that landscape. It was enabling people to connect back to that place that is now considered to be nothing more than a factory floor. Tipping Point was commissioned by the Canberra Centenary in response to the release of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, which was highly controversial in our region and caused much protest. We worked with 5 people with different relationships to the river system: an Aboriginal elder who grew up on the river, a farmer involved in industrial farming processes, a sustainable practicing farmer, a water lawyer who saw water as a tradable commodity, and an ex-mayor. This resulted in a projection event on the ruins of a 5-storey high brewery on the banks of the Murrumbidgee. It was celebrated as being the first time that people with differing viewpoints about the management of our river system were able to come together without conflict. In 2013, we created the Sunrise and Cad Factory Contemporary Arts Partnership. We collaborated with visiting artists from Japan and Sydney and with rice mill workers to create an event that saw 12 sites around the entire mill being enlivened with projections, installations and performance. At the first site, we took 400 audience members onto the Way Bridge and weighed them all. 13.4 tonnes, 400 audience members. A great figure to put into an acquittal. Next, I worked with a town called Yenda, who were devastated during the floods there. A small town of 1,800 people, I worked with the community for 12 months exploring recovery from trauma using contemporary arts. We made many works throughout the year. For one of these, during the course of the year, I collected 1 word from every resident. The word was something that they wanted to let go of. As you drive into Yenda, there are 2 large 30-metre tall water towers. On the final night, we projected for 3 hours every word that local residents had offered us. These words were projected, falling down the water tower into a projected bonfire. The whole town stood there slowly as those words fell down and burnt. There were words such as anger, regret, and fear. That was just one of many works we made together throughout the year. Following this, we made a work, the Buckingbong to Birigo Walk, which travelled for 55 kilometres over 3 days. It started at Murdering Island, a place where hundreds of Wiradjuri people were slaughtered, and it ended at the farm next door to the Cad Factory, which is seen as one of the leading environmental farms in the country. The purpose of the walk was to look at different land use over time, to start at a place of immense tragedy and end at a place of hope. Artists were commissioned to make work along the route, and there was a core of 20 core walkers, and members of the public were invited each night to the campsite. 4 days before this event, we received the terrible news of a murder-suicide in a farm just down the road that's received much national media coverage. So this project became a walk that was meant to go to a place of hope. It was a walk that was actually walking towards a place of unfolding tragedy. This turned a walk into a walk of remembrance for some. Having worked with every Aboriginal family within a 200-kilometre radius of the walk, this allowed many deep conversations to occur about traditional culture, about industrialised farming practice, and allowed a type of communication that hasn't been seen in that area before and was very timely due to those unfolding events, catching up. Currently I'm working in the UK in Liverpool Children's Hospital looking at trauma reduction for kids using contemporary arts practice. I've been asked to look at things such as the MRI scanners and the loud noise and the type of trauma that they cause. I've been spending night shifts in intensive care wards, giving workshops, working with staff and patients and families. And the aim of that project over the next 2 years after several more visits is at the end there'll be medical researchers who will be able to say, here is a medical proof that mixed artistic practice has had health benefits to these patients. So that's just a small snippet of some of the projects we've done over the past few years. Coming up in October, we have this project on Common Ground, which will involve 25 works in and around the Commons. The largest ones being a 100-metre wide textile work that spans the entire Murrumbidgee, that has harpsichord strings sunken into the river that will be played over 3 days by the tide of the river. Finally, this is a projection from Yenda. It represents the children who were picking up fish that were swimming down the main street as the town slowly flooded. It too is an image that represents innocence. The Cad Factory's work is specific to place. It is specific to the people that live or have lived in that place. Sometimes that involves conflict, sometimes it involves trauma, and it always involves deep negotiation. Thank you.